Hey guys, so I'm back. This has been sitting here for several days now because I got busy with other things. It has literally been killing me to not unmold these, but I absolutely love what this side of them looks like. Really pretty, and I can't wait to unmold them. But we're not unmolding today, so you're gonna have to watch the next round and wait for the other series. I do see a lot of these hairs in this one that I was seeing when it was starting to set up. I don't know if that's the resin or if there were hairs in the area, but this one has a couple too, so it might be the resin. Looks really good. This one's a little chunky right here, so I'll definitely have to put a layer on the back, but I don't want to do that because then I don't have more of this type of resin, so then I'd be mixing them. And I feel like that wouldn't give us a good base, like, comparison. So, I'm going to set these to the side because nothing we can do with them. Here's that yellow one. Looks pretty cool. Might have a smidge of purple in it. Might turn out pretty neat. And then, of course, our gemstones that are just bonus, but I'll unmold them whenever we do the others. So, that's that one. We're going to do the next round. I do have to tell y'all something funny. So, I recorded the first video there of that one, of course, and I had my headphones in thinking that I would use them to do the recording, because then if I walk away from this area, you can still hear me well, because the microphone is with me. Well, little did I know, I had forgotten that I had walked away from my phone earlier in the afternoon, or like a couple hours before I came to do the video. And yeah, my Bluetooth disconnects when you do that. And so guess what? My headphones weren't even on. So if there was at any point I sounded far away or faded, I apologize. Because, oops, I did a spot check of the video of series 1 and it seemed like all was well, so I think we're good. But I was just laughing at myself. I'm like, what a freaking dummy. What a dummy. My headset is on now, so we're good now. Alright. On with the actual thing of what we're going to do. So 55 of each. This is the artist resin. Part B first. And we're doing 55. That way we have the same amount. Whoops, way too much. Oh, actually, not. This is the problem when this table isn't standing height, so when I'm recording, I stand. And I need to have that at eye level. So anyway, 55 of part B. And it's a little bit yellow, but like you had seen how like almost orangey, I called it pea yellow. That was, and it cleared right up. So I don't have any concerns. Part A is a tad cloudy. Makes me think that it's going to start trying to go bad, but which is why I wanted to use them up. So what better way to do a resin comparison? As you can see, this is much thicker as it comes out. So I kind of have to let it come out. Let it see if it hits where I need it to. Okay, that one ended up like a tick over 55. This one ended up at 60. So I'm going to let that one settle just a smidge. And if I end up, I'm not really worried about, yeah, I'm at 60 on both. I'm going to roll with it because the other was so close to 60. I'm not going to stress over that side of it. We have just a tad more, essentially, of the artist resin than we did the other brand. So, the Amazing Clear Cast. Alright. So, of course, I poured in these smaller measuring cups just because it's easier to see the lines. But then I'm going to transfer to my big cup to do our mixing. These stir sticks, I checked, depending on when this comes out, it might be a couple weeks past, but I just recently checked, and Counterculture has them on clearance right now. So you might want to check that out. They a lot of times do some mega clearances. They do all kinds of deals. I mean, monthly they have deals, so hit them up. Subscribe to their stuff, and then you can be on the lookout for when they have a sale. I get their emails and their text. It's brilliant on their part to do that. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten something. I'm like, oh, I gotta go buy that right now. I'm like, oh man, I gotta go. Be like, I'm busy, y'all. If I'm at work, I'm like, give me 5 minutes. I gotta put in this resin order. So I gotta catch that deal. They don't usually take a deal down. Like, they're not usually limited deals, but sometimes they are. Sometimes they're the like first 10 orders or something. Alright. I think I got about as much as I can get. So we are going to stir for 3 minutes. So we're right about 7 minutes in on the video. And remember, I'm going all the way on the bottom. I'm going through all the sides. Making sure the bottom is good. I go counterclockwise. I go clockwise. I've been doing a bathroom remodel project, and so my hand is like already cramping, and we're not even a minute and a half in. Probably gonna have to switch hands. I think because I painted the bathroom. Usually my husband does the painting, but he's out of town, and you know, while the cat's away, the mice shall play. Little did he know that he's going to come home to a bathroom. He knows now, but he's seen pics. Couldn't keep it a secret. He's gone too long to do that. I feel like this has more bubbles than the other brand, which is interesting to me. I could be wrong. Well, let's see. We're getting closer. The dogs are going crazy. I think one of my girls' friends are coming over. They know, though. They know, don't bother Mom, because even though Dad's away, I gotta get my resin time in. I gotta get this video recorded. It's been too long. It's been days. And I'm dying down mold. It looks very clear. So, I think we're good there. Now, we're gonna let that sit for 5 minutes, according to our thing. So, 13 is when we will re-look at that. So, while we're waiting on that, we are going to prep our space. That should still be level. It hasn't moved. Oh, gracious. I'm good, y'all. I'm good. Just making a mess of things. It's all good. Cool. Woo. Alright, so I have identical molds that I have for these ones. So, exactly identical. And basically, I'm just going to use my tape. I haven't made it back to Dollar Tree to get packing tape, but I ordered and put some on my subscribe and save because I was like, you know what, I just keep forgetting every time I'm there. So this way, I will just have it this exact way here now. Sorry, I had to pause y'all for literally 5 seconds. My youngest just came to say my oldest is not playing kind. Though I told my oldest to promise, oops, to play kind. So, alright, I told him, like, I don't have time for y'all to not get along. Because I'm doing a timed one. You know this. Alrighty. So, I think I got them pretty well cleaned up. I'm going to go ahead and get our coaster mold, because this one's pretty dirty from whatever project I did last. So, I am going to clean it up with the tape. Alright, got just a couple more minutes. So, we'll get our cups that we need. It's like 4 cups of this one. We already have our silicone ones from our last round because they're cleaned out. Our 2 alcohol. Why did I have... Oh, because I added that. That's right. I was like, wait a second. This wasn't part of the deal. I know it's been a few days since I've been here. Actually, I need 5 cups because I need 1. Oh, this one right here will work. Because I need my piping bag. Let's see. Got us our cake piping bag so that we can get that ready. You know, anything you can do to kind of get yourself prepped while that resin's sitting is important. And I just realized something. Because of my bathroom remodel, I have my heat gun downstairs. So I gotta go grab that. I will be right back. Hold tight with me. Okay, I'm a little winded because, you know, I ran. That was fun. So don't mind me running down the stairs to go grab my heat gun because we need to. I might have been 60-ish seconds off, but look at how those bubbles came up. It's so satisfying to see them all pop. There's still some micro bubbles, but I think we are good. So we let that sit for 5 minutes. Now we need to pour our clear into these and let that set for 3 minutes and mix our colorants and stuff. So pour, and if you watch the first episode, you know that it's going to self-level it itself, but that essentially you want it. I must have shedded a hair. That is a true hair. That is one from me. I can tell because it's long. And my hair's up too, which is funny. But it self-levels, so it's gonna automatically do a layer and pull to itself. Resin likes to pull to the middle. That's the other thing. I don't think I explained that in the last video, but resin pulls to the middle. So that's why you can get a really great bloom. You just have to know that your resin is going to move. It's going to shift. So just because you lay something the way it is, it's not going to necessarily stay there. It's always going to have that look that it's pulling towards the center. Some people are like, why did it pull? I had such a cool design. Well, that's resin. It pulls to the center. It's self-leveling itself and it pulls to the center as it cures. It's like it goes like that. That exact everything. Sound effect and everything. Now you see we've got some big bubbles happening. And some micro bubbles. So we're going to put this on low. I think I had a stubborn bubble kind of in this area last time. Pop some of those. There's a big one underneath, and I have to get out of there. You might be able to see that the resin's kind of moving. Just be careful that you don't do too much and ruin your mold. Okay, let's get, this is not a pointed edge and metal tool, so that I can go in safely, pull those bubbles up so that the heat can get them and pop them. Maybe. There it goes. Like, come on, man. Just put everything over here. I was trying to not aim it right at the mold, and then, oh, let me aim it at my hand. It's only a tad hot. There's some little ones under here, so I'm just kind of pulling those up to the surface. Look at those popping. It's so cool to see. Okay. Popped them. Poppity pop. Although then I see this big old guy. What are you doing here? Come on up to the surface. Peas. Peas and thank you. Alright. What to do? So, I know the last time I didn't need as much yellow, so I'm not going to mix a ton of our yellows because I just don't need that much. It doesn't take a ton to give us the effect that we want, but we'll need a little bit of the purples. Try to get sort of even-ish amounts. Granted, not always easy to do when you're doing this. And then this will be our, oh, we need clear. Well, son of a gun. Well, not clear. It's going to be white. I was like, oh, I'm going to have plenty. And then, no, here I am again going, are we going to have enough? We'll make it enough is what I will say. Let's scrape this out really well. Drop some in our mold. And I think our flower mold might have ended up with extra again, even though I was trying not to. I was really shooting to not. But, you know, it's all fine. Okay, let's see here. Let's do a little bit more review. Let's do a little bit more review. Actually, this will be my yellow. That's what's got me a little bit discombobulated. Okay. Switch those up. Cool. Now I think I have enough for the white. Yay! Alrighty. Of course, I didn't look. Here I am, supposed to be making sure at the same time. I didn't look to see, once I poured those, how long they've sat there. I would guess approximately 3, maybe a little bit more minutes, just timing wise. So, I'm going to do another little white. This one I'm not going to go crazy with. I just want to give it just a smidge of heat. And then we're going to start mixing our colors. Alcohol inks settle at the bottom, so you want to shake them really good so that you can get that distributed, the colorant distributed back into the alcohol. Okay, some yellow, some yellow. This is going to be our yellow mica. Probably didn't need that much, but that's okay. And then we need just an ever so little amount of this. And I'm going to just use the brush that I dipped for my yellow mica, because it's ultimately not going to matter. And we'll do our center. So if you recall in the last video, we did this in the center. And it's again going to pull to the center, so just know that. I don't want this all around anyway. I want it very centered, localized. So that's why we've got her in there. I'm going to use the same to just mix my alcohol ink. That's pretty. I'm not usually a big yellow fan, but that's really pretty. And it's not going to take much. I just want a little bit of color definition for our center, which is why I'm doing the yellow. And I maybe did a little too much, especially since I'm going to add this, but it's in there and it's done. So, and this I'm just kind of swirl a little bit in. I didn't put a lot of resin in here to mix with the mica because I knew that I didn't want a ton. I'm gonna hope that this one pulls a little bit more in and not so out like it is. We'll see. We shall see. Like, pull yourself in. Pull your suck it in. Okay. Now, oh, let's shake this one. I think we had to do like 10 or 12. This is the part that I didn't mark down because I was like, oh, I'm going to do this next recording the next night. But then I realized my husband had to get ready for this business trip. And so, yeah. You know, he'll be like, you blamed me. You always do. And I'm like, no, I'm just stating a fact. That's what happened. I had to help you pack. Because he leaves packing until the last minute. Kind of stresses me out. I go on a trip, nobody packs for me. Alrighty. And no, he won't watch these, so I'm not worrying. Somebody's gonna be like, he's gonna watch this, and nah. And if he does, he knows it. So it's nothing I haven't said to his face. You know? Alright, let's get enough on here. I think that'll do. That'll do, pig. That'll do you. Anybody watch Babe when they were younger? Might need a little more. Yeah, maybe not. Coloring like your resin is really all about look and preference. So I'm going to get a little bit more in here. I'm going to see if it'll just squirt out for me. Because I want that to be a real deep purple. Oh, maybe. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So it's all just about preference, honestly. Whatever look you're going for. Your alcohol inks are going to be more transparent. That's going to have a little bit more colorant to it, or thickness to it. And then your micas are going to be real thick. Very little transparency through them. And truthfully, because this is with the alcohol ink, you see how light that is? When I mix the purple mica powder, I'm not worried because guess what? It's so thick that you're not going to notice that itty bitty amount. Alright, so watch the first one, then you know that we're going to do color in the shape of the petals. And we're going to do color and swirls here. And then white will be swirls here, white petals here. It all makes sense. If you didn't watch the beginning one, then this may not make sense, but it will make sense when you see it. So I'm just going to kind of help this into the center a little bit more, just so that my colors don't mix with it. It worked. I released a big old bubble. This seems more fluid than the other brand. Like it's got more work time, it feels like, just based on the fluidness of it. So truthfully, I'm glad it took hopefully just a smidge longer for me to mix things up, because it needs a little bit more time. And truthfully, I'm going to, and I know that I'm trying to give it even amount of time, but each resin is different in that sense, and I can tell that it's still a little too fluid, that if I were to add our colorants in right now, we would just have this, like, they would just blend and go all over. So while I'm waiting, I'm going to go ahead and just clean up a couple of my cups, just because, guess what? We're here. We're in the now. Let's roll. So these ones were the ones that had part A or part B in it. They're not going to get hard in there because, or it would take them a really, really long time because they don't have each part to make that chemical reaction. So round and round we go. And it's just rubbing alcohol. I get it off of Amazon. It's a 99%. Just helps break that down. I will tell you, I know I noticed it in the last video. The other resin had a really strong odor. I don't smell anything with the Counterculture Artist Resin. So that is a definite benefit, I would tell you. Still wise to do your homework and wear your protective gear, though. I'm not saying that just because you get a certain brand that you shouldn't. I'm not endorsing that. So don't come at me, okay? Okay. Alright. I will tell you, y'all, I may have mentioned this before, but, you know, some artists come out, other artists, I'm like, yo, we're supposed to be, like, happy-go-lucky kind of artist teams. Like, don't at people. Don't be rude about it. Everybody's an adult, or should be an adult if they're watching this. Like, you do you. If we don't agree, that's fine. And you can tell me you don't agree, but do it respectfully, okay? There's my little PSA today. Alright. Get me off my little soapbox here. I usually, if I don't like something or I'm going to say something, like, I just fall back to that. My mom always told me, if you can't say something nice, don't say it at all. And that's what I fall back to. If I can't say something nice, I'm just going to move on. Like, why do we have to pick a fight with people? So, and the biggest one I see is people getting on to people for not wearing their protective gear or so forth. So, that's why I bring it up. It's not totally random. Alright, that one's not fully clean, but I can see that this is getting closer, and I don't want to lose our resin here. So, we are going to get these ready to roll. I'm going to pour my yellows really quick into the caramel, because what I want to do is not have to worry about that. And I'm going to let the others set up just a smidge longer. But, like, getting us kind of situated here. Look at that. That is a pretty yellow, y'all. So pretty. I can't remember when I added my gold flakes. I guess that's probably about now. I needed like a transcriber. Somebody watching me do this and do the step-by-steps as I went. I have a hard time. I think I said this in the last video. I have a hard time rewatching my entire video. By the time I record an hour plus video and then get myself situated, I don't have time to sit there and edit an hour plus long video or transcribe it. So, there will be some differences. I know that I'm trying to do as close to as possible. It's the same, and I realized like I didn't spray our molds, which I did with the last ones. It's fine. It's all good. It's all good. It's not gonna make a huge difference. This one is pulling in the center nicely. This one, he's still like spready spread. I'm like, come on, pull yourself in. I do see some bubbles, so before I mix in our gold fleck stuff, I want to get those bubbles out of there because this will create some bubbles probably too. Of course you would land where you're not supposed to, but that's okay. Alright, just going to use our tool. Oh yeah, this is getting a lot thicker, which is so much better. Yep. Getting happy with that. Maybe should have done this one first when my brush was clean to go out and get that, but it's all good. It doesn't make much difference. Come to the center, my friend. That's why I wasn't worried about how I lay the micas or any of that, because truthfully, I'm stirring it and mixing it. I just want some color definition. Now, we definitely got some bubbles because we mixed that in. So, oops, that's high. For my bathroom remodel, I was using it on high, so now I'm in the habit of going high. Still low. I kept going low when I was trying to use it. But a whole thing. Alright, so I typically like to go my thinnest transparency to my thickest transparency, but because I'm doing all purples, I want to have a little bit of a break between my transparency. So I'm going to go my medium, and then I'll do our alcohol ink, and then I'll do our mica. Truthfully, I don't know if there's a science with it, but that's just kind of how I've learned that I like to do mine. Again, find your own system. You don't have to follow what I do. Kind of got goopy there. That's okay. It's okay. The one thing I like about paper cups is that I can scrunch them and make my fold. It's just something I like about it. And as you see, this alcohol ink is super transparent, so it's not a big deal like in our swirls if it's going over, because we're going to fill that in. This is where we get a little less like petals, and that's okay. I just want to make sure my lines are sort of evenish thickness, which we're dropping. We're getting messy. Come on. Big thing is, you want a little bit of clear. Some people like a lot of clear. So I shouldn't say what you want, because what you want is what you want. Do what you want. Like that one's done with colorant. We're not going to add any more. So do what you want with colorant. Some people like a ton of clear. It's beautiful. I'm not saying it's not beautiful. I just don't like a ton of clear. You need it to help give the definition of the colors in there. But I prefer having a lot more color than the clear, if that makes sense. So some wouldn't add these extra layers on these petals because it already came, you know, pretty far in. However, I prefer to go ahead and get that color in there. Again, that's just my preference. I like to have that color go pretty much all the way because it's going to pull itself in. Don't you worry. And you're still going to have enough clear for it to give a definition. I didn't have as much mica powder, so this line is super thin, but that's okay. Just thickening it up a little bit. Okay, let's get our, I'm pretty sure we let those sit 5 minutes. I didn't write that step down. See, I did so good, didn't I? Goodness. All right, so we're at 36.5. So we'll do a little piddling around and then we'll get that situated. I'm going to go ahead and pour some of these with our extra purple that I have here. I'm just going to go ahead and get it in there. Because why not? Why not? Get it in there. That way that part's done. And really this part, it's all about just watching and seeing how it is before I want to add my white. Because it's going to start, you can see this one, it's starting to pull to the center. Which is what I was wanting the yellow to do. Again, with resin though, the thing you have to know, and I think that's where people might get frustrated. I can't speak for them, of course, but what I tend to see is like people get frustrated when it doesn't do what they think it should, or it does something that they think it shouldn't. You can go in with the best of plan and it not work out. That's resin for you. So you have to have a lot of patience, which I don't consider myself a very patient person, so that's a little weird that this works for me. I would tell you. But with that, I would say that, and having a lot of grace for yourself, which is funny because I don't feel like I give myself a lot of grace either. So, kind of interesting that this works for me. Maybe I need to discuss that with a therapist and be like, why? Although, truthfully, the why doesn't matter because at the end of the day, that it works. So, don't fix it if it ain't broken, is what I'd say, you know. And yeah, that's kind of my story. And I'm sticking to it. You'll notice that we have more purples than the last time, and we had more yellows the last time. That's because I remembered to not mix up as much yellow, because I knew that it took very little on our others. So that's why. That's why. So we got more purples out of it essentially. So, just in case you're curious. But yeah, resin is a lot of fun, but it doesn't always do what we want it to or think it should do. And I think though sometimes, I think that's what I really like about it, truthfully, is that it is so unique. Even if you tried to get an identical piece, you're never going to have an identical piece. Like, even if I had done 2 flower molds, they're both going to bloom at a little bit different rate, probably. And a little, even though it's the same resin, everything, like I could pour them at the same time. It's just going to be a smidge different. And so I think that has a lot of beauty in it. And to me, I think it represents what like real life is, you know? Nobody's perfect. This life isn't perfect. It's not always easy. Working with resin isn't always easy. So I think it has a lot of symbolism in that row. Oh. Now, so I've been on my soapbox today, and now y'all got to hear my therapy session with y'all, right? But crafting is my therapy. So that's, truthfully, that is where I get my therapy a lot of times. I mean, I go to therapy, and I did a lot after my mom passed. I haven't plugged it in a little bit, but if you haven't watched the series about the origami crane, you'd probably be like, that's so random. Watch it. It's not so random. You'll have a better understanding of who I am from that. There is a string of bubbles right here. I'm going to just try to get them lifted to the surface. Not sure why they're bubbling up on the bottom. They're bubbled on the bottom. Come on up. So, I did a lot of therapy, like when my mom passed and so forth. And like I said, the origami crane episode explains more about me and my life and the reason why behind an origami crane. So, yeah. But besides true therapy with a professional, crafting is my therapy. It's what brings me my true zen, I should say. That might be my daughter's friend. Hopefully my daughter knows to text her that she's outside. Alright, 6 drops of that. Well, count it 6.5. Because, you know. With this is Cast and Craft. So it's a white colorant, and basically you just want to get it mixed pretty good so that you have it mixed through with any of your colorants, truthfully, unless the look you're going for is more of a some color, some clear. But the biggest thing with the white is you don't want to have like one patch super bright white and another patch more thin, because you're going to notice that in the piece. So here's our piping bag inside of another cup so that I could have the shape I need. So I can pour it. And basically I'm just squeezing the paper cup because it's going to get tossed anyway. Like, I'm not saving the cup. So this cup will get saved because it's not dirty. Alright, these icing cake piping bags, you can get them for a bunch of them on Amazon. Basically, I'm just trying to push the resin down, let out some of the air, and I'm going to cut us a tiny hole. You can always go bigger if you need to. So start smaller than you think you need, so that if you end up needing to go smaller or go bigger, you can, because you can't go smaller. Alright. Why aren't you... There we go. I have an air pocket in there. It's not wanting to go beyond that air pocket. Come on. I have my bag pop, and I don't want to have resin come squirting out. Don't mind me while we have a piping issue. I'm going to get our petals drawn really quick, because this one is really blooming. So I just want to go ahead and get our petals drawn. And if you watched the last one, this doesn't have to be perfect. I'm not no artist. Well, I take that back. I am an artist. Don't talk down to myself. I'm just not the best at like drawing artist. How's that sound? Is that better? So, you don't need these to be perfect. You don't need them to be like the best little petals that one could make. They don't need to be even. Nature isn't even. So, you know, our petals aren't going to be even. So there's how it looks now, but wait, it's going to change. This one we're doing swirls. So we did our flower pattern already. So this is getting swirls. Round and round and round and round. Here we go. Okay. So we ended up with some extra white. So I'm just going to add randomly in there because we did that the last time. And then we also, that's why we had the blue ink out, because I did something I had never done before. Better shake this because the color probably settled. I don't know how many drops, but I'm just trying to get it down in the bag a little bit. I'm going to move that white up where this is and have it mix a little bit. It's more of, hey, we're just not going to waste the resin kind of thing. Like, I don't need it for the coasters anymore. It's more of just a experimentation kind of thing. Because I always end up with extra white. It just doesn't fail that I will end up with extra white. Always. I think because I get worried that I won't have enough to make my petals or to make my swirls or whatever I'm doing with it. So I get nervous and then I just make extra. That's my theory. Now we're going to have lots of little stones. The piping bag actually makes filling these so much better. So if you were going to like just make these little gemstones, I would suggest doing a piping bag for that, because I mean, I can go in and get it full really fast and I don't feel like I'm getting a bubble in there. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I am getting a bubble. And I just don't know it. Oops. But I feel like it doesn't let as much air in, which is nice. This guy isn't that full, so he'll be a double color. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That is a mess, of course. These are looking good. I'm going to shift them just up a smidge, just so that I can get this on here a little bit better. And then as you saw, like I just kind of scraped them earlier to clean this just a little bit, level them out. So did that, and I'm gonna just push what I scraped into that mold. And really, if I get any over the top of these others, it's not going to be the end of the world because these are just a bonus. This isn't what, like, we're comparing per se. And they're already cured, so it would just be cured resin going on cured resin. Or be uncured resin going on cured resin, and it would cure. I've got my English language rolling. Okay. I'm just scraping as much as I can because this one's a little lacking, but it's fine. Okay. Not gonna worry about it. Moving on. Moving on. Alrighty. I think we should draw our petals because that seems good. So I like to use the other end of these silicone brushes. They are not pointy, so they're not going to damage our mold, which is good. If you have it sharp, it will scratch your mold. So just be aware of that. Oh, can we focus camera? Not really, huh? Okay. Maybe if I do that. Not super big knob at the end here. But not like, here's the tiniest one. I don't want that tiny. I want just a little bit of definition so it catches the resin. And this is just how I like to do mine. Again, y'all can do how you want to. So I pull in from where my petals are. I like to wipe in between pulling it in, just so that I get a fresh draw on it. You can do like a little swirl when you get to the center if you want to. And then I like to take it from the center all the way out to the edge. And if it means I spill a little resin out, that's fine. But I want to make sure that I catch my white. I am catching some of the yellow, which truthfully I think with this mold is going to look gorgeous. So I'm fine with that. But this is how, like, see how I'm pulling it and getting more of a definition all the way into that petal. Look at that stunning piece of work. Now it's not going to stay exactly like that because the white is going to start blooming more and the resin is going to bloom more. And watch me say that, and it doesn't work because, you know, resin. No, it should be fine. Okay. So this one, because it's a geode, there's not any true, like, following of, well, Alexa just dinged. I don't need you, Alexa. There's no real following of petals. So it's just whatever you envision in your mind, where you want the end to come in. And then your out is defined by where our ends came in. So that's really weird, Alexa. So then we're drawing those out. And do you see how already my lovely, awfully my petals are already now mixed up? So you can't even tell, like, how, in my opinion, how terrible those petals looked. I know, I'm putting myself down. I'm not meaning to, I promise. Look at this though, like, that looks like a little heart. It probably won't stay there. And this one does too. I think these are gonna look really pretty. Super pretty. And I don't know what my Alexa's doing. Don't say her name. Sorry if I just set y'all's off. I'm sorry. So that's really it. I do want to come into the center here and just do like a little, I'm just going to do a little swirling effect. And our gold is floating to the top, so push him back down. Kind of do that swirl effect. Nothing major, just a little swirl. This one, our gold is trying to escape. We're going to pull him back in and just swirl him into the center. Yeah. I like it. Now, a little bit of heat. We don't want a ton because that is going to heat up the resin, make it more fluid, make it flow. We don't want it to go crazy. We want it to just naturally do some blooming. But you might notice as I'm heating it that you'll start to see it doing that bloom, moving the resin some. The more heat you do, the more movement in your resin you are going to get. So you're going to change that look the more heat you do. And that's fine. Again, all fine if that's the look you're going for. I'm going to do it on the coaster so that y'all can see. So the more I let this sit here or hit it at an angle with that heat, I'm moving that resin around. See? Moving the white. It makes it flow. And so it makes it spread out more. Which I want it to spread on these. Don't get me wrong. I want it to spread. But I don't want to do it in a way that makes it lose some of the shape that it's got. And all I'm doing here is I've seen a few little bubbles popping to the surface. So I'm just trying to hit those. And yes, it's moving the resin as I do that. But I've accounted for that. And I'm moving really fast. If you see how I'm constantly moving the heat gun back and forth, that's so that it's not letting that resin get movement in one area too quick for too long. Here's another persistent bubble. Okay. So this kind of got a little bit extra just because of that heat. I don't think I'm going to do anything with it because I think at this point, the more, if I were going to try to do something, the more I do to it, it's just going to end up manipulating it to the worst spot than what I want it to be. So I think I'm just going to let it be and let it be a naturally flawed area. Of course, as the artist, we will critique ourselves. At least I do. And I'll probably stare at that and be like, golly, it didn't do what I wanted right there. It's okay though. It's alright, y'all. It's okay. Okay? Because when I look at other people's stuff and they're like, look at this little flaw, I'm like, I don't see what you're talking about. It looks so good. You know, and then I show something mine. I'm like, look at this little flaw. And the person's like, oh my God, you shouldn't even have noticed that. And I'm like, but I do notice it. So, you know, that's just my 2 cents on it. We will see the flaws, whereas others probably won't even notice because they're going to be just so enamored by the beauty of it. Right? Right. That's what we're going with. Hey, look, we got this one in an hour, but we haven't done cleanup. And it's probably my least favorite part of resin is the cleanup side. So, but in true form that I do, I don't leave you hanging without getting to see the cleanup. So, let's get this covered so don't worry about bumping it. Clear totes away. This will stay overnight so that we can unmold it and do a reveal. I'm so excited. Y'all don't know how hard it has been to not go and unmold those others. Like, if I can show any testament of my appreciation for y'all, for all that you've done to watch my videos and come back week after week and watch my videos and follow my socials and all that good stuff, that is my appreciation. That would be a huge appreciation because it is so hard. One of my favorite parts of resin is unmolding to see the beauty. I don't know. What's y'all's favorite part? What's your least favorite part? You know, mine is what I'm doing right now. Cleaning our cups. It's not that it's hard. It's just I'm not creating. And yes, with resin, in the silicone cups, you could leave it and leave them upside down, and most of that resin's going to fall to the bottom. Just leave them upside down on a surface so you don't mind getting resin on, or that is silicone as well, ideally. That's fine. You can do that. I don't like that method though, and I'm not trying to sway you to like my method. I personally don't like that method because I scrape my cups out so much that it becomes this like itty bitty thin layer, and then I feel like I have more residue left over in the cup than if I had just wiped it clean here at the end. So that is why I do what I do. Now I'm just using this one that I started with. It's the same paper towel. These aren't done because I know that there's resin being transferred from one tool to the other, or to the cup to the other, but it's getting a good start on all of them. Now my big cup is done, so he's good. This one, it's the creases in the bottom that always get me. So he's pretty close. That's good. So it's just about getting that rubbing alcohol in there and having it pull up any of that. If you didn't watch the first video, the reason why I do my alcohol inks in paper cups is it will dye your silicone. And I'm strange and I don't like that. I hate that this cup is yellowed, for example. It's weird. I know. But maybe there's others of you out there like me that bothers. So I would rather not have the alcohol ink stain the silicone. So I put them in paper cups. And that's how I do it. The mica powder doesn't though. As you can see, that's fully clean. This had gold in it, so you can't even tell. The color on here that you might be able to see is pink. It's from when I did, before I would only do alcohol inks in paper cups. I think that is cured resin from my last pour, because I didn't clean that spoon last time, so it's fine. I love anything that's reusable because I don't like to have to rebuy supplies. I'd rather spend the money on my resin or new molds or something like that. I don't want it on the tools that, you know, okay, yes, they mix my resin and I know they have an important role, but I would just rather not. Last thing I do is I take a fresh one and I wipe my gloves. If you watched the last episode, you saw where I ripped a glove completely up, which happens. They'll disintegrate, yes, but I might get another use or two out of them. Again, it's just, I don't know, I was raised to be resourceful, I guess. Nothing go to waste. I can't throw it away. Can't get rid of it. It's a good thing and a bad thing. So, alrighty. I see a few of those stringy things, so I'm wondering if it's because I'm under intense lights right now that's created that in the resin. So maybe both are reacting that way with the lights. I don't know. But we'll see when we unmold them. Hope y'all are enjoying. These will sit, air dry, and they'll be ready for the next round. But hope you're enjoying the series and enjoying my channel. And I will, of course, see y'all again very soon. Bye.